Like I said, I want to get back to the Brickyard. You mentioned aerodynamics. I mean, this track puts a premium on that, puts a premium on horsepower. Another stat that I think we always love about the Brickyard 400, 27 times they've run this race on the oval in the Cup Series. 9 times the winner of this race has gone on to win the championship in the same season. That's not a coincidence. We talked about it. This track demands the best out of drivers, and it demands the best out of teams, and they tend to bring, their best cars, least amount of drag, best engines. How much are you looking at this race and thinking whoever wins this race, it's going to be a pretty good title barometer?
I think so. I mean, I think there's the prestige of it and the ego. What racing really just becomes is a battle of egos, which is spectacular, such as sports, right? This isn't real world, thank goodness. We get to work in this world where win or lose, while there is a financial reward and all of these things, it's still just sports. It is some people's careers because they've chosen to compete in sports, but it's entertainment for the rest of the world. And I think the Brickyard I have circled to see not who wins. I want to know who's good, because, winning is like a next level type thing. There might be more to the story than winning that you and I haven't dreamt up. Could be a rain shower, could be a lightning hold, could be and you name it, it could happen. And we've seen it. We've seen, I don't know how many overtimes in the Casey Kane win that one year. Like, we've seen it all happen here. But I think we're going to see who can contend. Like, I mean, write it down. Denny Hamlin did the tire test. He is going to be breathtakingly fast. I assume that's going to trickle over to Truex. Bell, when they're good, they're unreal. Now, it's weird because they have some other races where they kind of just miss it. But when they're good, they're really, really good. Ty Gibbs, I mean, I think it's just a matter of time till he wins a race, right? So there's all of JGR I expect to be fast. Unless you see something I haven't seen, I don't think Hendrick is going to be slow all of a sudden. So now you have 8. And I would argue that I actually think the 9 might have been the best car at Pocono. We just never got to see it because he was in traffic so much. And Bowman has his swagger back. Thank goodness. Congratulations to the guy. Overcome those injuries. It's one of the feel-good stories of the year. How could you go against him? But now you have 8 cars full of swagger, right? Like, man, we about filled the top 10 already. We haven't even got to the Ford camp, who Ryan Blaney just won Pocono, and he said, well, that's the captain's backyard, so it's on their mind, right? So no offense to Cindric being the younger of the two, but let's take Logano and Blaney. Well, now we have 10 cars. Like, this is going to be an absolute heavyweight battle. I just don't see a random, good run cycling their way into the top 10 or 12. You know how when we start the playoffs and on our leaderboard, we kind of have that red chip next to all the playoff drivers? And normally we start at Darlington. I know we won't this year, but we'll get to like mile 250 of the Southern 500, and there'll be 1 or 2 drivers in the top 16 that aren't playoff guys. And you're like, wow, look at that. That's where all the – write it down. Take your 16 playoff drivers, put a little chip next to them. I think there's still a few outliers. Like, I think Bubba Wallace, probably, who's not a playoff driver, will run pretty good, but they're going to fill the top 10. Like, I don't see a new winner at the Brickyard. Matter of fact, I'm not sure I see somebody who hasn't won a race inside the top 5 or 6. Like, I think this is an absolute toe-to-toe, Muhammad Ali, just punch. Just you keep swinging and see who can figure it out.
Yeah, and you named all the favorites. I'm going to come back to those a little bit. But first, I want to talk. Somebody's going to win this race, and it's going to be the first time since Kevin Harvick in 2020 that they're going to get to celebrate an oval win at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You said your first race there was 96. So I take it the first time you celebrate a win there would have been 98 when Gordon won the Brickyard. Then what's that like? What's it like celebrating at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? What's it like kissing the bricks?
So kissing the bricks is a moment that you get a picture you'd never expected to get. So victory lanes are very, very special. But if you're fortunate enough to go a few times, they're hard to identify where you are. It's not a memorable, like you and I would recognize Daytona with the building in the background. Other than Daytona, maybe the Martinsville clock.
Yeah.
I could show, I'm not trying to discount victory lane, but if I ran through Jeff Gordon's 80-something wins, you'd be like, I don't know, not sure. Well, I'm going to tell you that when you get to line up as a crew member, there's no second row, there's no back row, there's no guy you can't see over here off camera. You put the driver, the owner, the crew chief in the middle. and then every single person that made that car go gets to line up on the yard of bricks for that picture, there's something equal about it. There's something like, hey, there's no hierarchy here. Like, we're all here. We're all equal. And it's like a moment in time. There's no grittier, slimier, dirtier kiss that you would more love to have in your life than a yard of bricks covered with fuel, oil, and rubber. It's like a special moment where you're like, man, this is so cool. And I think that's what's going to be exciting, is to see these teams do that, because it's real. Like, it's a big deal. And it's so much fun to do.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.